Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Let's see, I don't know how to unmute you.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool, then you're there. Well, hi guys, I guess Juan was gonna come on and do the kind of price action stuff, but he got tied up with family. So here's the deal, I'll answer whatever questions you guys have and kind of go over whatever I know in terms of price action. Does that sound okay?
Yes, that'll be fine. Definitely, if you could possibly just lay out what price action is exactly.
Okay, so I'm on TradingView because it's a lot easier. And I definitely don't have my chat on. So if you guys have questions, just talk. So price action essentially is what happens to price at certain key levels. I mean, that's the best way to define it. Like I said, Juan was going to hop on and kind of go over his kind of expertise of what price action is. But I can tell you that when I refer to candles, I refer to naked candles. And what we're doing is we're looking at what the actual candle is doing at certain points. So right now we're on the 1 hour chart on TradingView. If you guys can see my screen, okay. All we're really doing is if we go up to like the 4 hour chart, okay, we're looking for key levels, right? So if price stalls at a certain point, and we've had Brexit on GBP, so kind of bear that in mind a little bit. When we look back in history, we can see that price stopped at certain points, right? If you guys can see my cursor, this was a key level. These are little key levels. You can call it support and resistance and supply and demand. But when price makes candle formations at certain points, okay, that's what we're looking for. So when we're using the triple arrow system, we can't just look at the arrow and think, okay, well, now we're going to listen and we're going to go off of just that. We have to be willing to look at the entire picture. And candles still are king. They still tell us everything, which is the main reason why I don't use the Heiken Ashi Ash candles or the Trump candles, because it's just, I don't know why I can't get this to move. Because then you can't read what the candles are telling you anymore because you can't see it. When you use those candles that stay the same color like Trump candles or Heiken Ashi Ash candles, you can't see that there might be a doji, okay, that there might be, you can't see the head and shoulders patterns. You can't see a hammer and all the different things the candles are doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So if I'm gonna show you what I know about price action, it's not as much maybe as Juan would know, but here's what I would tell you is, again, we're on the day chart. So we're looking at support and resistance. We're looking at what price did at certain points, right? So there's 1,000 different ways to do this. I'm just gonna do it kind of super simply. We're looking left to see where price stalls out. These are all key levels, but the ones closest to current price that we should be looking at is here. See how price stopped here, stopped here, stopped here, and then it kind of wicked off of this area, right? So this would be considered a key level. So we're going to see what happens at that level. And if we go up a little bit, depending on how you trade or what you would consider, again, I want the nearest zone closest to the current price. So I would probably use this one as a first basis before I went to the next one. So you have to have some idea of support and resistance to know price action. And you're just looking at what price does off of those points. But when I'm trading, and what I think everyone was referring to in terms of candles, we're looking at areas like this. So we want price to slow down. We want the candles to be getting smaller and not larger. We want a doji. We want like an evening star, candle patterns, candle formations. We want some evidence that it's turning around like this. See how it wicked heavy to the bottom?
Hey, Jenny, do you have a reference point or something to where we can get these patterns that you're speaking of, the dojis, the evening stars, those things? Is there a resource that we can read and see what these candles should look like so we can identify them?
Absolutely. My first recommendation on that would be, it would actually be the JCP app on iPhone or Android. Like there's a ton of stuff online that when you Google it, candlestick patterns, and I'm sure babypips.com has loads of information. But how I learned candlestick patterns, it wasn't even from IML or any of the trainings that I've paid for. 90% of my candlestick understanding comes from that free app. And the creator of that app, like he's super chill, he's down to earth. Like if you ask him a question, he'll actually answer it. And then of course you can have it set to notifications, and it gives you all kinds of little tips and tidbits that kind of pop on up on your phone throughout the day. But in order to learn anything about candle patterns, that's where I would have you go. It's the JCP app. So let me go to my phone real quick.
I believe I have that one. So,
but actually use it though. Like it's a really underused thing. There's a ton of information on there. But so like right here, for instance, this is a candlestick pattern, guys. This is vectoring to the bottom. And what does it do when it got here? It moved up. That's a key thing that I would be looking for. Another key thing would be like this moment right here. Now I don't do this too often, so bear with me. You guys are kind of my test group, I suppose. But this, if I can scroll out, this right here, that bullish candle, that's an engulfing candle. That's a good indication of a reversal because it's double the size of the bearish candle before that. This is something, so if we have the triple arrow system pop up right here, and I'll go over to my triple arrow system. I actually use the Uncle Pappy, but I'll show you. This is the kind of candle confirmation I'm looking for because technically price can keep going and going. Like there's no guarantee that it's going to turn around. But when we're looking at candles, we want wicks to the opposite entry, unless you're looking for a hammer. You're looking for patterns. Like I'm not so good at the flags, but I know that they're super great to look at. You're looking at the candlesticks themselves to see what's happening at that place. So let me see if I can even get there.
So speaking of, how do you know the difference between because here's you're right, on a shooting star and a hammer, the wicks are, going towards the opposite direction. So if it's a hammer and we're looking at it, of course, moving to a bull or to a buy, the wicks are all going to be pointed towards the bears, or the wicks are going to be long towards the downside, correct?
Correct. So here I'll go back to my I tried to pull something up. Again, I wasn't planning on doing this. Juan was going to be on for this part, so bear with me a little bit. There's tons of sheets like this on Google that tell you what each of these patterns mean, and study them, print them out, learn them. That's all that is. It's like there's nothing that I can teach you that's special or extra that these don't teach you. So a hammer is the one that I tend to mess up on because the wick is the other way. Let's see if it'll let me. There we go. Because you can have that upside down hammer, and that one confuses me to death. But that's all we're looking for. This is a reversal pattern. This is a reversal pattern. These are all indicators, okay, to tell you what price is doing. Does that make sense? This one, I think people get messed up on a lot. I would get messed up on this one right here, however you say that, Haramai. I can't talk, barely, so, but you're looking at what the candlesticks do. Again, Juan was going to teach you guys a little bit about price action and then what it does at certain points, but what I'm looking for is a candlestick confirmation, because we have a ton of confirmations in our system, and our system works, but we still need to look at what price is doing. So if you have like, here, I'm going to go to, if it will let me now, silly, there we go. So this is the triple arrow system, right? If you have a ton of bullish momentum, like you do over here, oopsie, it's going to super lag because I'm on a BPS too. So we can only assume that, oh, oopsie. Let me open a new chart. I was playing with some different things. There we go. Okay, so this doesn't have my AA lines, but if we scroll back a little bit in gbpusd, we can only assume that this system kind of reset a few times because you have a ton of bullish momentum. There we go. So like right here, I'm going to guess that that big arrow was right here. I'm going to guess that it shot up several times and just kept pushing. Now, I don't know that without using the back tester, which is this tool up here. But I can pretty much guarantee that, yeah, this is where that big arrow would have been. But the thing is, it's got all these huge candles going up. And yes, it did a reversal a little mild one, but it wasn't ready yet. So when you're looking at when it's ready, this is a good indicator. You've got 2 wicks to the upside. You've got a big bullish momentum candle, obviously. And then it stalls out and it keeps trying, but it loses all of its steam. It slows down. And now you've got a good bear run down. That's what we're looking for. Because if we just enter, and I'd have to find a really good example, but if we just enter every time we see a whole bunch of green candles, it's not ready yet. And where people are getting stopped out because they're not using enough of the confirmations. But we have 1,000 confirmations to use. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Can you look at GA, because it's one that kind of got the best of me this week. I was looking at all the confirmations, but like you said, the price action or the price wasn't ready to make the move.
Okay, what I've learned in the system, you guys have seen all my super messy handwriting, right? And I got away from using sticky notes. I started using them at first. But if we're willing to hold these trades and if we're willing to go for a moderate amount of pips, these trades close positive. Like I think in 4 weeks time, I've had 3 or 4 that would have hit a stop loss and that's it. Granted, the stop losses are rather large though. So the ones that do are pretty painful. They're very painful to hit, but let's see if I can even, there it is. Okay. Okay. So you were trying to buy all week, huh?
Yeah, so I was trying to buy, and my first move, it made profit. I TP'd, and then I set a buy limit, and then it came down, picked up my buy limit, but kept going.
Okay,
my
so
first move, I made money, but my second move, I got caught up. So I'm still up in this one.
Where did you enter?
Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up.
Because if I could tell you guys anything, again, this wasn't the same format, but almost every one of these moves, if you had the right take profits, you closed in profit with a lot of pips.
Yep. But, so my first one, I made like 50 pips on the first move, and then I set a buy limit, and then it caught that buy limit like right here on. I think if you look closely, it was like Thursday night. I set my buy limit. It caught it overnight, and then it just kept going down. So my first move is right there where the seabird is.
This one?
No, go down even further. Down even further. Right here. That was my first move. I caught it going up, and then the second move, it kept going down. So my new price that I came in on the second time was 1.83188.
And it caught it here, huh?
Yep, it caught it there overnight and it slid on me. So now I'm waiting for it to come back. But I just wanted to see if the system or if what you're talking about can catch it, how much more further down is it going to go through price action?
Okay, so first off, when I set buy limits or sell limits, oh, I got to turn these off. I'm so sorry, guys. I usually have my VPS muted, so it's not too bad. But so if you got in here, okay, and you got your pips, let's say you had enough confirmation. I don't know which system you use, but in my system, the auto trend's good. I'm kind of leaning away from the profit filter. I think it's just a little bit noisy. But I take very high stock into the, stochastic. Yep. And you got enough confirmation, so you get in somewhere around here. This right here is already, give or take, 80 pips. We'll just round it down because there's spreads and stuff. You didn't have a confirmation yet to get back in. So like if I had a pending order, my pending order actually would have been worse than yours because I would have had it higher than what you had it to catch more of the move. But we don't have a confirmation to get back in yet. And this is on the 1 hour. So it does look like price is stalling, but that's a really bearish candle. And this could easily be a flag. I don't know much about flags to be able to teach about them in an effective way, at least, but we don't know what price is going to do. So if we go down to a smaller time frame, we can see it's wicking here. Let me turn these off. That's the seabird, right? If I can find it. Close. Okay. Close. So like, can I guarantee if it's going up? No, because it just broke below my money tree string or above it. So that's a good indicator that it's going to reverse. I mean, I would set it to where it's got a super tight trailing stop, just in case it does kind of wick that and then drop again. But I mean, I can't guarantee that because, again, we don't have any verification here that this is turning around yet. This will tell us that it's going to turn around to some extent, but we don't know how much. How many pips are you down right now?
Right now, I got 100 pips.
Ouch. Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing about this system is the huge stop losses, which is what I'm kind of working on. How do I get a tighter stop loss? But that's the only thing missing. But again, you guys have seen from the notes that these don't hit the stop very often.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. Like during my trading week, I'll win 10, 12 trades, and then it's just that one trade is such a huge loss. It all washes. Like my wins, I'll be winning all week long, and it'll just be one trade that'll get me. Last week it was oil. The week before that, it was like EN or something like that. I just got to figure out the stop loss thing.
Okay, so maybe between all of us, we can put our heads together and come up with a really good idea for that. But for right now, I will tell you, like in terms of this system, the only losses I've had that are measurable are when I try to listen to everybody's jump in on oil and jump in on US 30 and jump in on, you know, the NAS, whatever. And then I make huge mistakes because they trade different, obviously, and they move different.
Yeah, I'm done with the exotics. I'm sticking with the 8 major pairs going forward.
So my next question is, are you changing your lot size all week long or no?
No.
Is it the same lot size?
I use Stenu. So, yeah, I'm trying to stick to a consistent lot size with just maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 maximum trades. But like I did jump into USD Mexican, and I realized right then, it was my first time playing with it, and it's an expensive pair. So I went down to like a 0.02 or a 0.03 lot size because, I mean, I know that's it's a more costly, more expensive pair.
It is, and it moves very slow. So like considering how expensive it is, it moves really slow.
Yep. So.
Okay, so if I had my stop loss on this GBP on, I'd have it a little bit down. So you're looking at a potential stop loss, and you're already down by 100 pips.
Yep.
So that's 180 pip. That's where my stop would be. And if you look to the left on the day chart, as we notice, oh, it's still doing it.
Yeah, see, my TP is right there on your purple line, on that purple resistance.
This one.
My TP, yep. So if it just honors it, and the daily candle just resets everything and goes back up just to touch resistance and goes back down, I'll be okay. I'll not only make back my my thing, but I'll at least TP. But I'm okay with just getting out of the red on this one because my week was phenomenal, excluding this one trade.
Yeah, a lot of people had a rough week, and I've been trying to talk a lot of people down off the ledge because the last 2 weeks with NFP were rough. But I'm trying to show you guys that if you hold 3 or 4 trades, and even if you got super unlucky and 2 of them were losers, which the system has such a high accuracy rate, that's super not likely, you're going to be closing in green every week. But not if you do the system to where like Tuesday's trade is a 0.5 and then Wednesday's trade is a 0.9. Because if Wednesday's loses with stop losses that are so large, you've essentially wiped out your profit.
Absolutely right. You're correct.
So if this were to keep going down, yeah, it'll break. I mean, I have no way of knowing that because we still don't have a crystal ball. But this is a good support area in theory.
Yeah, I was messing around with these Ichimoku cloud stuff, and it broke the daily cloud. That's why I'm like shaking in my boots. But the weekly cloud says it'll probably go down all the way to 1.79500. So
I don't mess with the cloud too much. The cloud scares me. Well, like I tried to learn it. Let's see. Chart window.
Cloud, it's been pretty accurate for me, at least telling me where things are going to go. This last 2 weeks, I've been playing around with it, and sure shooting, it follows the triple arrow system to almost to a T. It's just you don't know when it's going to break the cloud and when it's going to honor the cloud. That's the problem.
Let's see. The cloud is a predictive area. So that, what is it? The cloud and then the alligator. It's essentially the Bill Martin system, right? That kind of goes over all of what we think might happen.
Yep.
Yeah, Dr. Spiller in IML, he uses the cloud, and it's scary accurate, but it's so complex that most people can't learn on it. Like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to learn on it. So,
see, it hour, and it broke the H4 too.
But this right here is a twist, an Ichimoku twist, which says it might come up, right?
That's exactly.
And then it's going down.
So when I put the trade in Thursday night, that's what I was banking on, was that that it was going to do the reversal. I didn't predict the slide was going to be this aggressive.
But the problem is that you're facing is, look, it broke that level, and then it broke that level, and it broke that level.
Yep.
So if it already broke this low, I mean, what very well could happen is, so if price is here, it comes back up to approximately, so it comes back up 20, 30 pips.
Yep.
And then drops.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of foreseeing is going to happen too, because I'm looking at the weekly one, and it says it's going to go all the way down to 1.79500 at least.
So the 4 hour is saying that it's going to come back up.
The 4 hour.
A little bit, right?
Yep. The 4 hour is saying it's going to come back up to about 1.83230. Right there at that little tail. Yep.
And that's how far from your entry?
That'll put me in profit at least. At least it'll put me in profit or break even.
So on this trade, like if it was me and I was holding it, I would first off set my trailing stop to be like literally 5 pips, because that means if it accidentally wicks it, I'm going to close out close to break even. Because this one doesn't look like it's turning around. It's just not ready because it's breaking through the cloud on the daily.
Yep, it broke through on the daily.
So it just doesn't look ready. And if we go back to the triple arrow system, the triple arrow system is saying, well, and I use the Uncle Pappy, I call it the color system, but this is really good. It already kind of, it's impulse move, retest, move, retest. So you could see like that ABC corrective wave, according to Elliott wave theory, right? Which would put you in profit. I mean, that's very well possible because, again, we've got buys on all these, but none of them are confirmed buys. So the reset are super high.
Yeah, it's using the MA35 as a form of resistance. So what it's been doing is it's been coming and touching the 35, and it'll go right back down every time. So you'll get a seabird, it'll pop up, and it'll kind of be a little bit of a seabird, and then it'll go up maybe 5 to 10 pips above that seabird, and then it'll break right back down, like you said, and make the bigger move.
Seabird is super accurate, but it's super lagging. It's very late.
Yep.
So like on this one, right? A lot of the teachers are teaching that whole strategy of draw a trend line, and it's not so fun to do it on MT4, but so I wouldn't buy this until like if I drew a trend line and I wait, and I was waiting for it to break.
Yep.
On the 15-minute chart, you've got this money tree string is actually what I'm kind of basing my little scalping strategy off of. It doesn't repaint at all. So
what doesn't repaint?
The money tree string. It doesn't change at all.
What is the money trace drink?
Okay, money tree string is a marketplace. It's a free indicator.
Money tree
string. Yeah.
String.
The only thing I changed on there are the colors. It was actually recommended, I'm pretty sure, by Pat. And trying to find something that I can bank on with, huge lot sizes. We're talking, in order to grow some of my bigger accounts, I need to get to the point where I'm not going to have a little heart attack at a 50, 0.0 lot size. I need to be mentally okay with that because I want to prove what's possible. And to do that, of course, it takes higher risk. So I'm trying to figure out what I can bank on most accurately. And for right now, I have a couple people in the group testing to see if the buy sell line repaints or not, because I've ran the tester on it a few times And since I'm using smaller time frames, like I can't verify if it does or not. I can't tell because it's so like cloudy. But we're going to see. So in terms of this pair, we just stuck with the triple arrow system. We do have the money tree string. We've got the big arrow. We don't have that buy sell line yet, but it could appear potentially. But if it broke this, I would stay in the trade. And if it continues down, I'd probably get out and cut my losses.
Yeah, that's great advice. Can you explain this money tree string briefly? I'm
okay,
sorry.
so this is what I'm working on, guys.
I've never heard of that one.
This is what I'm working on. Let's do this. Oh, that stinking trend line. Hold on. The money tree string is one of my indicators as part of the color system, right? And if we go back in history, I can't clarify if the buy sell line repaints. The little arrow does occasionally, not as often, and we all know the big arrow does. So having said that, I'm trying to figure out what the best strategy is that I can trust and for how many pips. But the money tree string, if you notice, I think I was on GU. Also, I'll go to GU because I was spending a lot of time on GU. Because I could talk about it semi-intelligently. So other than a few consolidation periods, and keep in mind they've had Brexit and everyone's just playing with it. So you'll notice that every time this changes color, it goes for enough pips, like legit enough pips. As long as you're using a few other confirmations, like I said, I like the stochastic. Pat settings are kind of really slow, but it also makes them really accurate. So what I'm banking on is not just the big arrow system, but when this money tracing line changes color, I know that in the GBP pairs particularly, this doesn't go for all pairs, only GBP pairs, I can usually get a 50 pips safely. And for that strategy, I don't need my stop loss to be enormous. I don't need my stop loss to be, 200 pips.
Is that on an hour time frame, Jenny?
Yep, I'm loving the hour time frame on that. This box right here, guys, let's see, shapes. Because I'm trying to figure out, so how can I trust the system again to get to different lot sizes? This area is the part where it's like, okay, would I have taken this trade? And the reason why I'm saying no is because the auto trend forecaster is still saying it's a buy. And it doesn't actually turn purple till over here. So if I'm not gonna, I'll take you to the chart I was on. There we go. If I'm only using these indicators, only these, this is kind of what I've been working on. A couple of us in the group were talking about having a scalping strategy. This is what mine is looking like it will be. And I can't confirm if the buy sell line repaints or not, but I know that the money tree string does not repaint. So once it turns purple and it's got a candle or two worth of confirmation, you can take that for 50 pips. And there are a few exceptions. You definitely want, so the 3 rules, if you're writing these down, would be money tree string changes color, the stochastic at this setting, okay, is overbought, so it's over 80 and it's switching over. So right here, my purple line is over my green line. And then of course, I've noticed that the really way to trust the system is when the auto trend is in the same direction. So when all 3 of those things happen, and you can back test this. In fact, I would recommend you back test this. See, let's make a line. When all 3 of these things happen, which again, it happened back here, but we'll just go from here. We definitely get 50 pips. Easy. Well, that's 320, but that's on the 4 hour. So let's go somewhere else. Let's see. On the 1 hour chart. And then you don't have to sit in front of your chart. So on this strategy, I'm putting like a 30 pip stop loss. I might move it down to 25. I've been testing it about 2 weeks. So once that happens, I know I can get 50 pips. But I was just trusting too much on that auto trend forecaster. This one, right? Well, no, I was trusting too much on this. And I don't think it really lines up very well. So sticking with what I'm working on, this is what I would do. And you can tell, like, when that buy sell line is in agreement with that, I would make my stop loss, my take profit slightly bigger. Without that, Also, I would use a trailing stop, and the second I'm in profit, I move my stop loss into profit, period, no matter what. So you'll see that this happens all the time. All the time. And it's working. So, because I needed something I could trust, if that makes sense.
So to go through that again, so the money tree, the color on the money tree changes. I'm assuming this is after we get our other confirmations in Uncle Pappy's or the TA, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of independent of the Uncle Pap. This is kind of like a, I don't know, we'll call it, I'll come up with a name for it. It'll be my name. I don't know what it is yet. It's using the same, indicators, because when this happens, if you go back in history, you don't need a stop loss that's 50 pips. You don't need a stop loss that's 30 pips. Because once this, if it breaks this, and that's the problem with the stop loss that we're facing is, theoretically, if we take this trade and it breaks this point, I mean, at the very second that it breaks it, this technically is no longer valid. It's not valid because it's officially broken it. So we don't necessarily, the way we do the stop loss is a safe way to do the stop loss. And it's definitely worked for me more than any other system, and I won't complain whatsoever. I'm just looking for a way to improve that. So using the same principles, you can take 3 confirmations, which is the color line, the auto trend forecaster, and the stochastic. And on the GBP pairs particularly, to take that for 50 pips is easy. And don't get greedy and don't get stupid saying, oh, well, most of these moves go 100 pips. Technically they do, but 100 pips risky is not worth 50 pips safe. And it never will be. Because
or you can always just put your trail and stop at, once it passed 50, like put it at 50 and it'll be a risk-free trade.
Yes, that's perfect. That's what, if I was in front of my charts, I would do that. So I'd put my stop loss 5 or 10 pips in profit, and let's say it's 50 pips in profit right now, I would make like 15 pip trailing stop, where it's still tight enough, but it maybe has some room to grow, because GBP pairs, when they move, man, they move. So this one went, what, 40 pips against you? But the point is, like, I'm not an expert. I have been able to grow some really small accounts to very, very large numbers, and that's fantastic. But the key is being able to control your risk and have safe pips, because I don't want to be a scalper. So I don't want to be one of those people who say, oh my gosh, 20 pips safe is the best way to go, because that's just ridiculous. But to get a safe, smaller amount of pips without having to risk everything is still a much smarter investment over time. Because everybody wants the 300 pip move, but that 300 pip
Jenny went out.
Sorry. So everybody wants the 300 pip move, but that 300 pip move could potentially blow an account, especially some of these people who have 300 pip stop losses and they have $300 accounts. Are you there?
Yeah, you went out a little bit.
Sorry, I'm leaning back in my chair.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm working on. And that's also the reason why when I tell you guys how I stack the trades, it's because it works. So on most of these pairs, to have a trade that kind of goes in and this is a GBP pair in all fairness, so it does move much more. But even on this move right here, 3 of my entries would have closed in profit. So that's approximately 128 pips, I believe. And then that last one would have closed with another 70, 80 pips before anything even reset. And then if I wanted to get back in, I could. But that's the difference in the way I'm trading versus the way a lot of other people are trading, is they're taking this trade, let's say they take it right here, and they're like, woohoo, I'm up. And then they go, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. And it's just this emotional roller coaster. Why did you not take profit in this whole 100 pip move? 100 pips on a standard lot size. You do that every week. That's more than most people are making. That's more than I made with a college degree. I mean, $1,000 a week. I mean, that's a lot of money. But people they're missing that point. They're waiting for this huge, 500 pip move. So, yeah.
Jenny, I have a because I hopped on just a tad bit late. Can you run through just like your analysis? How you pick out good trades?
Yeah, so right now we're on GBP USD. Let me probably delete this box. Oopsie. If it'll let me. There we go. No. Delete. So if I was looking for this trade, no, granted it's saying sell on everything, so this is not a good trade. But if I was to buy this trade, I would need the 1 hour and the 4 hour for sure to be lined up. I'm not so concerned with what everything else is doing because again, I'm not leaving my trade. I only have one runner open, and that one sometimes runs for 2-3 weeks. But in general, most of them close in a few days. So what I'm looking for, like according to the Uncle Pappy system, is I need for sure to line up. I don't like the 1 hour for this, but go to the 4 hour. This one's not ready yet, and it looks like it might reverse a little bit before it continues to drop. And yeah, actually, Brandon, I'm planning on selling most GBP pairs this week. So just so you know. But anyhow, I know this one at least. So if we go back to where the last triple arrow was, see right here? We have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 confirmations. And I also include like a candlestick formation in terms of I need to see a bullish engulfing candle. I need to see a momentum candle. I need to see some type of a doji, like this right here is a doji. I'm looking for what price action is doing. So if this just keeps coming down and nothing is happening yet, I'm not going to take that trade. I'm looking for some amount of price action as my 10th one. So where would I get in on this trade? I was paying attention to the Seabird, but the Seabird's kind of late. So let's say I got in right there. This is about to turn. This is ready. This was below the 20 on the stochastic. And this stochastic doesn't reset either. So it's super accurate. Is it accurate forever? No. This system and no other system is going to tell us, hey, GBP USD is going to buy forever. And I think that's where people are getting kind of tripped up, is because they're trying to hold this trade or for too short or way too long and they don't understand. But so for this, let's say I got in somewhere around here. Let's just go up here. Say I missed out on all those pips. I would stack 4 entries. I'd stagger my take profits, and my last one would be a runner. So this is what I'm looking for. That's it. I'm looking for these things to line up, and that's a lot of confirmations. And how many pips would have that been worth? So again, assuming I got in really late, that's 100 pips. So again, with my 22, 44, and then 77, I think it's 128-ish. And then that last one with the 50 pip trailing stop would have got me close to 200 pips. And then when it reset right here, if I'm available, I'll get back in. If I'm not, I won't. Like I only spend a few minutes, early mornings, my time, mountain time, and then sometimes in the evening, I'll hop back on and check out, depending on how many trades I'm in per that account. Again, the same thing happened here. So this lines up, we've got a crossover on the stochastic. I'm just going to use that. It didn't let me. So again, the same thing happens right here. Depending on if I saw it again, I trust this a lot more than I trust this, because this seems to be pretty accurate when lined up. So assuming I got in even around here, every one of my entries would have closed in profit. Every single one of them. And that's getting in super late. Do you see that? That's like missing this entire huge part of the move. So getting in late.
Still use the buy sell line as a confirmation as well as the rest of them. And that lets you know that you can go in 100% that way.
Yes.
So you wouldn't have got in on the bullish ride, right? I mean, excuse me, on the bearish ride, right? Yes.
Well, that's something I'm kind of working with right now, this new kind of scalping strategy, but that's separate from the Uncle Pappy system. So I'm kind of looking at stuff like this. Hold on. For 50 pips. And that went 90. So I'm not there yet, and I don't want to teach you guys that. I want to teach you to trust the system. And with 100% all due respect, once you get comfortable with the system and you want to pick up a counter trend strategy, as a reversal strategy, I'm all for it. But until you get to the point where you can grow your account at least by 20, 50% a week, there's a few of us in the group who are literally growing their accounts by over 100% a week. I've officially hooked my accounts up to MyFX book to verify that. And that's insane. Like, everyone says it's not possible, but it is possible. If you don't over leverage, and you are willing to be smart and conservative, period. So like on my system, when I'm working on, yes, I would take this, but that's a separate thing I'm doing in a separate account, because I'm kind of curious on a good 50 pip strategy with a maybe 20, 30 pip stop, because the ratios on that are super awesome. If my winning ratios are close to 90%, again, verified on like my FX book, then something with a stop loss that's literally close to a 2-to-1 ratio, essentially I can grow my account by approximately 200 to 300% per week. And this is all like those dorky numbers per my spreadsheets, but safely. So I am working on that, but that's definitely not what I want to kind of go over until I know, first off, if the buy sell line repeats. That's super essential information. And until you guys get to the point where you guys can get out of trade safely.
So are you using the Fibonacci to do your 4 take profits, or 3 take profits plus the one trailing stop?
No.
So how do you determine what your other 3 TPs are once you get all of the indicators on the Uncle Pappy's?
Okay, so let's take this one right here. I kind of like random repeating numbers. I'm kind of that weird girl. So either way, I set up my chart where I get 22 pips take profit, 44 pips take profit, and 77 pips take profit. And then my last one has that 50 pip trailing stop. So that one's got, I really don't like that trailing stop because the giveaway 50 pips is just stupid to me, but I am sticking with that. So for instance, once I have it set, and let's say that this line appears here, but I see that there's support and resistance right here, or another buy sell line or something, I'll kind of adjust it accordingly. But in general, that's it. And the reason why I chose those, well, first off, I like my weird numbers. But second off, Uncle Pappy, well, Pat said one time that when he created the arrows, he did so basically predicting a reversal of at least 40 pips. So that's where I got my middle take profit from. I've noticed that almost every one of these moves, going 20 pips is easy, even on the non-GBP pairs. And then the 40 pips is based off of how he programmed this. And the 70 pips is based off of the fact that I back-tested a ton of different pairs, the NZDs, the CHF, all the US pairs. And most of the time on the 1 and 4 hour, when this big arrow appears and sticks, obviously, these each run at least 80 pips. So even on the really crappy ones that just, they're not very sexy, let's go find some ugly trades. Even on the ones where like it reverses too quick. Sorry, I'm on a VPS, so it's gonna go so slow. It won't even let me. Let's pick a different pair. Okay. I'll find an ugly trade. I promise. This one right here. So we've got the big arrow and then the little arrow, like back to back. Even on the ugly trades, trying to get 70 pips is easy. So I wanted something I could trust. That's why I have the 20 and 40 and 70 pips. That last one, if it keeps running like in a bull run like this, my 50 pip trailing stop wouldn't have knocked me out until like here. I would have caught all that. But on the times where it's choppy and the market doesn't know what it's doing, my last entry is going to knock me out, but it's going to knock me out safely, and I'm okay with that. Because again, worst case scenario, like let's take this trade right here. We're fully confirmed. This is a good one. Give or take, let's just say we got in somewhere around here. We have a really good confirmation, right? this one moved 150-ish pips, right? So let's say that I get knocked out on my fourth entry right here. I can get back in here. And again, even if I did, all 4 entries would have closed in profit twice. So this one section that I'm kind of circling with these 2 entries is worth approximately 500-ish pips to me. About 500 pips I would have got from this one trade with the way I stack. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because if he got in there and he got in here, all 4 of my entries would close in profit. And that's without me babysitting the charts. And I might not catch this move. I might not be home. Like I might be gone. But if I happen to catch it and it's in line with the big arrow downward motion, it's in line with the 4-hour, I'm going to take it again because I know that I'm going to be able to close in profit. So it's really super easy, guys, like stupid easy.
So Jenny, so you don't really, when you do it this way, do you really look at the 4-hour? Like if you have all these confirmations on the 1 hour, is there a reason to even look at the 4-hour, or do you like, you know, glance at it or whatever?
So I do look at the 4-hour. I didn't at first because I told myself, well, shoot, I don't even need that. Because of the way I was doing it, I was going for less pips at the time. So again, it worked really well for me. But if we're only going to look at the 1 hour, you have to do that accordingly because these 2 lines that I drew were both sells, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can notice that on the 4-hour, this would have been still a buy. So
Right.
it doesn't mean, and look, you still would have got 500 pips going against that. So that's like, it's not a bad idea, but you have to be much smarter. You have to be willing to move your take profit, you know, your stop loss into profit. You have to be willing to go for a smaller take profit and have, like I showed on that one page I put on the group, my trailing stops are basically designed to where they'll take me out of the trade. So let's say that my one of my entries comes really close to that take profit, but it doesn't quite touch it and it reverses, it'll close me out pretty close to break even. The reason I have it set that way is so I can safely take whatever trades I want. And even at my worst case potential, you know, I'll be close to break even. So I don't want to tell you to go against the 4-hour. I did for a while. Now I kind of stick with it. But those aren't bad trades. That's 500 pips, easy pips. So like if you happen to be at home that day, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Right.
And clearly it worked. So
right. Okay.
When we switch back from the 1 hour to the 4 hour, because that's where that was. Does anybody else have any questions? Sorry, I didn't go over like a lot of price action stuff. That was supposed to be somebody who probably knows more than me about price action. And hopefully he'll get on and he said he'll do a recording to kind of show you. I just kind of keep it super simple. I'm looking for the candles to paint me a picture. And as long as I've got my candles telling me that something's going down and enough indicators, then I'm going to trust the system. And it's really simple if you're doing it right. But if you just place a trade with a huge stop loss that's like 200 pips and no take profit, and you wonder how you're getting knocked out, like that's how. So, yep. Does anybody else have any major questions that I can help with or answer?
Yes, I'm wondering, like, how do you know? I'm new to everything, so I'm wondering, how do you know what to put down for your stop losses? Like, how do you know what you want your stop losses to be?
Okay, so the rule of thumb, well, welcome to the team. The rule of thumb that we use in this system, which is kind of the debatable point, is your stop loss is always below the big arrow on the 4-hour chart if you're buying, or above the big arrow on the 4-hour chart if you're selling. So you'll notice, like in terms of this particular one, let's see, that would make your stop loss rather huge. So if you got in where price is at now, I mean, your stop loss would be 200 pips.
Okay.
But again, that's not how we teach people to get in. So you would probably want to get in like, this isn't a great one because it doesn't have the buy sell line. But for this trade particularly, if you got in when everything lines up, that auto trend's not lined up yet. But if you got in here, your stop loss would still be 150 pips. So that,
Wow.
the reason why I say only have 3 trades open or maybe 4 trades open is because your stop losses on these guys are huge. But the point is as you guys see in my little scribble scrabble notebook, let's see, last week, 1 pair hit the stop loss, 2 were floating. And that's during like the worst trading week ever. That's NFP. There's a lot of like professional traders who don't trade at all during that week. So that's pretty impressive. And the week before that, stop loss got hit on 1 out of 15 trades.
Wow.
The week before that, stop loss got hit out of 1 out of 12 trades. And I have like notes to go back in history. I'll submit my next one the following week, so next Friday. And when you learn to trust the system, you realize that it's super easy to just go with the system and get your few pips. You don't need to catch the 300 pip move. Sometimes you do, and the times you do, that's great. The time you caught this move, that's fantastic. But if you're going to risk your entire account to get that 400 pip move, that's not fantastic at all. So let's say you saw this trade with the big arrow here, and let's say you were at work or you were out to dinner with your guy, and you want to get in right here where everything's kind of lining up and it looks good. It's retested a few times and it's still rejecting. You catch this move, that's 400 pips. But you don't need all of those pips. There are people who literally live off of 100 pips a week. Like you can live off of that if you can do it in a way that you're not risking so much.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. There's a note. There's notes in the group that kind of show you how I do my take profits and my stop loss. If you're willing to follow that and go for a little bit less pips, I think you'll find that a safe 100 pips on a few trades a week, and most of the trades I'm in, I average at least 200 to 300 because of the way I stack or the way I re-enter. That's not bad. That's a really good way to live. Yeah. Because at 700 pips a week at a standard lot size, well, here, I don't do math in public, so I'll get out my calculator. Let's see. 700 at a 0.5 lot size, which isn't even like super unreasonable. That's $350 a week. And that's for most of the USD pairs, but it gives you an idea.
Yes.
Again, 700 as you continue to grow, because you need your account to be a few thousand. You need your account to be a safe few thousand if you're going to try to do standards. But once you can get that at least $3,000 to $5,000 balance, and you have, let's say, a standard on there, a standard all week long at 700 pips is what you came out with. Okay, that's more than most people make in their job, like period, because that's like $3,500 a month.
Wow.
And that's not sitting in front of the charts. As you grow and pay off debt or whatever it takes, like in terms of your personal situation, it's super possible. You just have to do it smart, because one loss will not break you if you're doing it smart.
Right.
Hey, Jenny, I've noticed a lot of times your entry, the Seabird, like you said, it's lagging. So what are your entry? Can you go through just real quickly your entry indicators once more? Please forgive me.
No, yeah, let's go to your GBP pair. It's on the very bottom. So what I'm learning to really love the most is that money string line. I just find it to be stupid accurate, like super easy.
Okay, and can you share us your settings on money string? I just need to see, or is it automatically set up out of the free marketplace?
I will show it to you, but I didn't change anything. There's nothing fancy. You got the market LL, DLL imports. The imports are 40 and 30, well, 40 and 3 and 0. Apply it to close. And I like green and purple because those are biblical colors and they're really pretty. And that's it.
My favorite colors too. I'm going to change mine to those.
It's fun. I think it's, and I guess, you know, red psychologically is not a good color. I went to school for psychology. And plus you see red when your charts are negative. So like, I definitely don't want red on my screen, preferably. So yeah.
Yeah, like me looking at your chart is like a breath of fresh air.
Well, I'm glad you can totally do this. You can do a gray background, you can do white background, and then just save it as a template. And it's fun. This can be tons of fun. But okay, so according to the color system, what we're looking for, again, I'm not ready to buy this yet, Brandon, but let's say we're going to use this moment back here. On this moment, so like, let's say that this is where I see the chart. That means we have to imagine all that's gone. So let's use our imagination. I'm going to the 4 hour to see if it's in line with the sell in the 4 hour, and it is. So on the 4 hour, this was selling. So I'm content with my 4 hour analysis. I don't care what it's doing down here on the 4 hour. So I'm gonna go back to the 1 hour chart, okay? And what I'm looking for is the buy sell line. That's super important. I'm trying to figure out if it repaints. I don't believe it does, but I found that to be super accurate. The big arrow, little arrow, which kind of is from the triple arrow system. The money tree string. I have my EMA set a little bit faster than Pat's because, again, I like repeating numbers and it's a little bit faster. So this is an exponential moving average. We have officially kind of crossed over the 80 on the stochastic. And again, his settings are super slow. And I was never taught to use settings that slow. But when you see how accurate they are, like this is a super good indicator that it's going to move. It doesn't mean it's going to move for 1,000 pips. It just means it's going to move. So it might like come to here and then pop back up. So that's where that whole come in safe and protect your profits comes in. And of course, we have the profit filter extreme, which is purple, which in my colors are sell, and the auto trend forecaster. So for me, that's enough to get in. I don't care what's happening on the 5 and 15 and 30. I don't care what's happening on the day and the week because my 1 hour said to sell. And when I clicked over to my 4 hour, my 4 hour said it's still selling. So I would be happy with that trade to get in. Those are my indicators. And in terms of the candle action that I talk about, I don't know too much about price action, but Juan will make a video when he's not tied up with family. But I do know this. We had a huge bearish, momentum, bearish, how do you say that? I don't know, bearish push to the downside. And that's a really good indicator that something is happening. It's not guaranteed, but for me, that counts as a confirmation. What we also see is a nice retest. That retest is stinking perfect because that means it kind of came back up. This area is approximately support and resistance because again, it stalled here, 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 here. It came back up to retest that and then broke. So for me to get in here, that's safe. I'm going to trust that and I'm going to get my however many pips. So on this trade, it moved for a total of 325 pips. What would have happened for me is my first entry would have closed at 22. My next would have closed at 44. My third would have closed at 77. And my last one would have probably got knocked out here. So I would have missed it, but give or take, another 125 pips. And that's what this move would have given me.
So I noticed the money tree turned green for a short little snag right there.
Mm-hmm.
What, right above your mouse, the money tree string turned green just for, right there. What happened? So when the money tree changes, that's when I guess I'm confused on that. Why did it change colors and then go back down?
It's a pullback.
It's a pullback, yeah. But again, guys, I'm trying to think. You guys are imagining like we're sitting in front of the chart when this happens. This is like, I don't know, probably 24 hours, give or take. So that's 328. Yeah, this is like an insane amount of hours. So if this happened at approximately 7 o'clock, and then the next day, 1600, yeah, that's a lot of hours. So the odds that you're sitting in front of your chart right now is pretty slim. Not if you're doing this right. Because you guys are going to blow accounts. You're going to have little mini heart attacks if you're trying to watch this move. Like, who cares what happens? That needs to be the mindset. The mindset needs to be, who cares? And I don't know if I'll say this right, but the whole point of this is your job is to perfect the action and leave the results up to the system, leave the results up to God. But your job is to do your job properly and to follow your rules and leave the results up to the system, leave the results up to God. So whatever happens here is none of your business, like, at all. The odds that you saw this are slim, and if you did see this, I mean, you're probably sitting in front of your chart too long. You pick a few trades every week and you walk away. That's something Pat says, and I promise you that will be the make or break thing. That's probably equally as important as having just really good rules. Period. And on this trade, you would have been safe if you put the stop loss above the 1 hour. I won't fib though that putting the stop loss on the 1 hour means it will get hit slightly more. That's still 167 pips.
Right. All three of yours would have been, possibly four, really, would have been safe. That pullback might have hit yours, depending how your trailing stop was. Do you have a trailing stop on that last runner?
Yeah, that trailing stop, I have it set at 555, which is 55 pips. So let's play this out. If we got in here, okay, it's going to be a little lagging because it's on a VPS. My first one closed way up here. That's how small it is. My next one closed here. My next one closed here. And then it went down to 200 and, some odd pips. So on that third one, I still would have cashed out with 150 pips. So altogether, this trade would have equated approximately 270, 280. And that's not even with the rest of the move. So that's what this trade would have given me.
Gotcha.
And people are like, people are super scared about the times where the triple arrow resets. But if you guys are using all the indicators and not just the triple arrow, what you'll see is, let's assume that this big arrow was over here. We don't know that, but let's just play pretensies. Let's say we got in, it's so slow. Once we had enough confirmations. So there we go. This move right here, from there to here, is still 140-ish pips. So even on this baby move right here, all of my entries would have closed in profit. And then most people at this point are going, oh my gosh, my stop loss is about to get hit. I'm going to lose money. But if you had take profit set, like, your account should be bigger. So even if on that fourth entry you didn't have a take profit set or a stop loss, this position still shouldn't be enough to break the bank, because you should have had a nice little, paycheck right here. That's why, like, a lot of people are really worried when the triple arrows reset. I'm trying to find another spot. There we go. Whether or not it reset or not doesn't even matter, because even if it reset from here, okay, you would have had enough pips. Especially if you're trusting that money string, but that's a different topic. Yeah. Okay. So even on this tiny move, you guys see how big that move is? That's 132 pips.
Game over.
And that's getting in late. So that's like if you truly were being super patient on every single part, no matter what. This one would have been a bit iffy. I could see this one being a loss. But let's find out. So let's say we waited.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had your second arrow though. So that wouldn't have been a perfect setup.
None of this would have been.
And also that looked like Asian time, Asian session.
So
yeah, your auto trend wouldn't have been there with you until right there. I guess you're correct.
But even look, that's still 120 pips.
Yep.
Granted, this is a GBP pair, guys. So GBP pairs move way more. If this was USD JPY, a lot of those take profits need to be cut in half. And you have to know that. And the second thing is, don't trade on a Monday. Like, yes, you're going to miss some moves. I'm not going to fib when I say you're going to miss some moves. And you're going to be like, oh, man, I should have traded all that money. I was right. But don't trade on Mondays, because Mondays are the days that trend usually keeps pushing. They do fake outs. They really try to make that wick or that higher low of the week. Mondays are just not a good day to trade. So find your trades that you enter either like on Monday night. So that would be essentially, that's the first part of Tuesday, according to Asian session. That's a really good time to pick your trades.
So essentially you're trading Tuesday through Thursday, because we don't trade on Fridays.
Well, actually, I think most of my trades like close out with the most profits on Friday. What I've noticed with this system, this system, like no joke, I was always taught not to trade or hold my trades till Friday. So there's a lot of a learning curve that comes with this system, right? And for a long time, I was closing all my trades out on Thursday night because I'm Mountain Time, so New York comes real early my time. But I got to the point where I just let them run and I left them open. And Fridays tend to be my biggest payday. So with this system, sometimes you'll be red all week, and then that Thursday and Friday just like pop like crazy. I kind of love it. I definitely trade on Fridays. The only days I really try not to open a trade is like Sunday night, unless there's a gap. I will trade the gaps. And then, so for instance, like if a pair kept pushing, so I have in my notes what pairs I've been looking at for the last few weeks, right? So like if odd NZD set up really nice on Sunday night or Monday morning, I might be wanting to take that trade if it's been pushing against me for the last 2 weeks, because there's a good chance it's going to pop. But unless it's been pushing for a few weeks, I'll just wait till Tuesday, because by Tuesday it would have made its flag, it would have made its move, and then also kind of retested, because this is still Forex. So we're still waiting. Even if we're waiting for our, like this one, we already saw that it had its bearish impulse. That's what I mean by candle confirmation. And then it kind of created a little flag, or I don't know if that's considered a flag or not, but it did a pullback. And that to me is a really good indicator. So same thing here. We have a huge momentum to the upside. Even with the wicks, it's still saying, hey, I'm going up. And then it pulls back. The odds are everyone is trying to get in here. They're trying to time the top and time the bottom. And we know that is a recipe for disaster. We're not looking to catch it at the best price. We're looking to catch it at the best confirmed price. And the best confirmed price is after a pullback. Always after a pullback. And that happens all the way throughout. So this pullback, yeah, it stinks to wait this long, but that's a safe entry. Like that's super safe because it already broke out, kind of played around, couldn't go anywhere. And it had an impulse move to the downside and retested. Because if we drew my little trend line, and I don't do this on MetaTrader 4 very often because it's stupid. There we go. It broke the trend line and then it retested and came down. Played around for a while and dropped. So that's what I mean by candle confirmation.
Also, Jenny, I wanted to add, because we're in a few groups together, to know a really good indicator I have is where it tells me how much, like the average range of each pair is. I think it came from Steve Morrow, and it's the ADR of each pair.
You should drop it to me in Telegram. Somebody else was
Are we live?
Let's see. Somebody else was talking about one really crazy system. And I looked into it and I was like, wow, that's just way too much drama. So the only thing I really know much about is like the average. I'll probably never even find it, but it's not this one. I know it's not that one.
I'll drop it. I could drop it in the group in Telegram so everybody have it, because it really saves me a lot, because sometimes even before I enter a trade, if I see like half, like for the ADR, if it moved half of its pips already, I'm really not going to, if I'm scalping it, and maybe if it's a long run, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna go in heavy if I know it only runs 100 pips a day and it already ran like 60 pips. So I know to probably, like, to be safe, 20 to 25.
True. But keep in mind, like, there's the reason why I would love to learn how you use that, and I definitely could learn a thing or two from it. But the reason why I wouldn't put too much stock in it is because think about it like this. A lot of people trade highs of the days and lows of the days, right? Because that's what the money market maker group does, right? They do the high of the day and low of the day. But a lot of times it'll keep pushing. So I know there's a couple people who are trying to figure out their take profits from the average daily trading range. But I don't know how the math on that works, because take this pair. Like, so are they counting it from here to here, like as the trading range? Or are they counting it from this is 50, this is another 50, this is now 150, this is now 200? Because we don't know.
No, they're counting from the high and a low of the day.
Which means it can still move in here like by hundreds of pips back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, I don't know too much about that, but I'm definitely interested in learning.
Well, the reason I even brought that up, because like you said, GBP pairs, majority of GBP pairs move more than 100 pips a day. So your take, how you set your take profits when you stack your trades will not be the same when you trading another pair. So the average daily range would help you on the take profit. So meaning if it's let's say you USD JPY, let's say it moved 80 pips a day, you won't have the same take profits as you would on a GBP pair, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I think that would help a lot of people. But again, some of these trades people are holding for a long time, so some of mine stay open for a long time. But that's what I'm learning about GBP too, is that anytime it does a reversal, most of the reversals are like 50 plus pips. So that's a nice, to get 50 pips safely, like that's really all I need. 50 pips safely is life-changing. So that's awesome. And that average daily trading range, to find out, especially if like it's here and it's already went down so much, like I wouldn't want to keep selling it if its average daily trading range was already hit. Because why would I sell it if it's already done this much of a down move in a day?
Right.
Yeah, that would be super helpful.
Okay, I'll drop it in.
Awesome, thank you. We appreciate it. Well, are there any other questions or comments? Sorry, it's not too much price action stuff.
Can you look at one more pair for me? Pat called I think AUD JPY as a sale last week, and we've been kind of waiting for that one to take off.
Okay, so somebody posted in the group
for next week. It's going to be one of my trades.
Okay, so you see, this is my demo account. You'll see that these are only Pat's trades. Okay, but that's still been the pip count that he has called, and that's with the way I'm taking his trades. So that's not bad, because that's been less than 4 weeks. And keep in mind, I was traveling, so I missed some of his calls. But that's what we're seeing. So now that I've done that disclaimer, as you can see, I'm super upside down on this pair too. In my live account, I had gotten out of this trade because of a harmonic pattern was called. And that would have been great if I had done the same thing on my demo. But again, I was just kind of sticking with this, and I did not even have a take profit set. So I don't know if this one's ready to sell. It's kind of not been a great trade, as everybody knows. I think somebody posted in the group something about some political something. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to quote wrong. So if they're listening to this and they can repost it or discuss it, that would be great. But I guess there was some major news event that wasn't supposed to come out until another few weeks, but it came out early. But having said that,
but the money trade is showing us that this is still on the buy side.
Oh yeah, I like how it's breaking below that. To me, that's a really good a good sign. but that could simply be a pullback. So I want to go to, let's see. For this, I want to go to Telegram. Oh, not Telegram, TradingView. Okay, minimize this. Bring this up. AJ. For this, let's do some real charting, okay? We have a huge bullish movement, and the odds that that's just going to come down and play in our favor is pretty slim, because it's going to have to play around up here for a while. Now, granted, I don't know that, and I am upside down on a demo account on this trade. I'm out of it in all my live counts, thankfully. But if we go above and beyond, like, there's no major levels yet. So I'm not an expert, guys, so don't, you feel welcome to critique me. But on the day chart, if we're looking for key levels, like the most recent ones, those aren't till up here. There's a really good chance that this is going to keep going up. That's kind of awful, but it broke above a lot of key resistance, right? That's best case scenario. That, again, I'm not an expert, so bear with me, but from where we're at now, that's 35 pips. Well, that's not horrible compared to the GBP pairs, but there's a good chance it could go up. I mean, a minimum of 90 pips, if I had to guess, 180, and that's not good at all. Because it broke above this was a major support zone. This has been a support zone since February. And the fact that it broke that, like, it could come down and retest, hopefully let you get out of your entries and then go. And it could potentially go, it could have just baked out and go down. But there's a good chance that from this key level that it broke through. Hi, handsome. Sorry, my little guy just came in here. So that's not looking good for the sell. Like, not according to price action, not according to like actual trading.
Yeah,
because
I think I'm gonna close out of that one because I'm actually I took that one and I'm in a negative. Luckily, I think I did like 0.02 on that one, so I think I'm in a negative like $18, $24, something like that.
That's not horrible.
Yeah.
But see that red line? That's some massive resistance, and it broke it. It broke it hard. So again, I'm not an expert. I don't have a crystal ball, but it tried to break through, rejected, tried to break through, rejected, kind of stalled out. And this was a good indicator. And I think this is where we ended up getting in. Most of us, a couple of us in the group who followed my trading system of the take profits and trailing stops, we got out here, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was here because it wasn't that many days ago. But either way, we got out safely. This is not pretty. There's no way to know, but that's a super powerful candle. So if you're looking at the
daily.
Yeah, that's daily. Let's see, remove. Do you see that, Brandon? That's Brandon, right?
Yeah, I actually didn't go into. I didn't take that trade. Actually, I wrote it actually up and made a profit on it. I don't know what I saw that made me take it to go up, but I took a buy and made like 50 pips.
Okay, you know what you should do? Like, I know that I'm the queen of like this super amount of notes on my desk, but you should have a trade journal of why you took the trade you took. So when you go back and you have the success or a failure, you know where it came from. So, because the fact that you bought that's awesome. But yeah, it broke out hard. I'm no expert, but see this breakout? And then it came down, retested, it went up. Like,
yeah, I bought it at 79.419 and TP'd at 79.498.
That's awesome. I actually had a buy in it, but I was trying out this new management tool, and it knocked me out. I had a buy based off of that harmonic, and I had a very large lot size on it. I had a 2.23 lot size on it, and it was only a 20 pip stop loss, so I guess that's a blessing. But I got knocked out, because of that trading tool. It's weird, but I'm working on it. So
I don't know why about that.
yeah. I'm guessing, guys, our system's going to tell us to sell this for a while because it's obviously overbought, oversold. You know, it's very much so modeled off of Elliott waves. So if you guys have any Elliott wave indicators, you'll notice that that big arrow lines up with level 3. So if you have that indicator, I have a ton of indicators that show that that big arrow, that's all it's doing is it's predicting that last wave. But technically, this could push up a few more levels. And I am not like price action queen. I don't have a bunch of experience charting. But again, on this one, if we shoot down to a baby time frame, what I would be waiting for is for it to break out. I would want it to super break out of this trend. Super simple stuff. Okay. Ooh, sorry, that zoom thing's kind of in the way for me to put it where I want it. I don't want it to break that and then retest before I would even consider anything. And I'm guessing it's only going to come down kind of to that 50% area and it's going to go up. But I don't know. So that one's just not a very pretty trade. Not pretty at all. Because that's, yeah, that one was an account breaker. And that's crazy considering it wasn't a GBP pair. I mean, it moved a lot. It moved hard. Let's see. So that one candle is 110 pips to this other candle. That's 150 pips. But people usually do a much higher lot size on AJ because it doesn't trade at $10 per pip. So that one was an account killer for sure.
Would the money tree string have picked that up? Would we have been accurate on that using that system?
Let's find out.
But keep in mind, I mean, we were only riding those for what, 22, 44, 77? So
yeah, we weren't riding these forever. So again, I usually do the 1 hour. I don't have patience to wait for the 4 hour. I'm working on it. So let's assume that the big arrow was here. I'm pretty sure that's approximately where Pat called it. Again, if I had just entered this is a demo account, so I didn't have all my stuff appropriately set, as you can see. But if we got in somewhere around here, we notice that the auto trend, all of them are lined up. I'm not going to list them all. But if we got in somewhere around here, let's find out. That's only 44, 47. I mean, to the very tip of the wick, that's only 45 pips. So yeah, different pairs move differently. But would the money tree have predicted it accurately? Yeah, it would have. Like, so if you happen to be watching it and you got in here, you would have been great. But for those of the people who weren't watching it and didn't have their stuff protected, so if I had my trailing stops on these, like, it would have been different. But again, I just kind of entered it, and then it's a demo account and I had a ton going on. I'm selling a house and moving across the country. So I wasn't as diligent on this demo account as I should have been, but it would have knocked out a few of them, but it still would have hit a stop loss, assumably somewhere up here. But I'm really liking that money tree string, guys. You have to know what pair you're trading, but even if we use AJ, let's find out. I think EJ actually moves way better, way more. I don't know for sure. Whoever that was talking about average daily range, does EJ move more than AJ? I think so. So this one's worth 60 pips. The money tree string, like, I'm really loving it in general. Like, 89. Yeah.
Yeah, you sold me on this money tree. I'm loving this.
I'm just looking for something I can trust, right? And that's really all we're doing. I know that since we're not using price action and we're not using naked trading, we just want something we can trust. But the point is like, we see this and we think, oh, we're going to go for 100 pips. This is only telling us it's going to move down. So if we're willing to say, hey, it's going to move down by 20 pips, and we're willing to take out 20 pips, and not at first, because most people's accounts aren't big enough, but if you're willing to close out at 20 pips at first with a 0.1 and then a 0.2 and then all the way up to like a 2.0, I mean, that's enough to live off of, period, like on any of these. But I wouldn't take this one. Again, I want something a little bit more concrete. So pick a few of these. The one that you guys saw when you jumped on was this one. This is what I'm working on. I love how it lines up with the auto trend. So when I'm willing to take a really for sure entry with the auto trend, the stochastic, and the money tree, finding out about the buy sell, that's a really good, that's good to me. That's enough for me to say, hey, I can trust this. On this pair, it's not as many pips, period. You'd have to know what pair you're trading. Who was it that was talking about the average trading range? Do you know if EJ moves better than AJ?
It was me, Deja. Let me see. Let me look. Go on my computer.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of like UJ. I know that.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm opening my MT4 and I didn't even have it open.
It's okay. If anybody has anything they want to share or add, I am still a student just like the rest of you guys. I just happen to have a little success, and that's mostly thankfully to this system. This system kind of really helped change my mindset, and I guess I got serious. So that was it.
That pretty much sounds like my testimony. It was pretty much like that. I'm not gonna lie, the last week I took a big hit, like a $1,900 hit. But it wasn't, you'd be shocked, it wasn't even from the system. I took somebody else a trade signal who they actually were normally pretty accurate with that particular one. And I didn't have a take profit. I kept letting it run. It was really my fault, and because I didn't have discipline. I had discipline because I built an account from $450 all the way up to $2,500 in like a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks. And like that 4th week, no discipline at all, got a little cocky and over leveraged, no stop loss, let the trade run. It was horrible. So I was like, you know what, I have to regroup. And actually, I've been studying price action. I looked in the group and I'm like, oh, wow, they're doing price action. So.
Sorry, I can't tell you guys more about price action. When I do price action, I usually, again, I'm not going to claim to be an expert, guys. If I wanted to mark up my charts, I'll pick a pair. Actually, I really wanted EG to be my favorite pair because it's one of the most expensive per pip pairs, but it just moves too funky for me to be in love with it. So I can't love that one. I decided I don't love it. So let's see. All I know about price action is I go to the line chart. There's quite a few, big time people who do that. It kind of takes away the noise, and you get some basic support and resistance. And of course, there's so many indicators on MT4 that they already have that in there. So it's not even.
You know what? I'm going to put this in a group. I actually bought an indicator off of eBay, and actually give you candle stick patterns, like really good. They have the engulfing candlestick, the harami. They have the 3 soldiers. They have the morning evening star, the morning star, like the doji.
Does it label it?
Yeah, it labels it.
That's awesome.
Like, cool. I'm gonna drop it in there. I haven't tested or any. Like I used it one day, like to see. And a lot of people say when you use it with support and resistance and trend lines, that's the most accurate. But I haven't back tested or nothing. I've been super busy, and it was such a great price. So I was like, why not? So I'll drop that in the group also.
Oh, awesome. You're a hero. Thank you. So yeah, what she was saying about like candlestick patterns only really count when they happen at key support and resistance levels. Like if they're going to happen in the middle here, but like it doesn't mean anything when that happens. It matters when it happens at like key support and resistance levels. So depending on where price is at, like you'll notice in the line chart, it makes it a lot less messy. You're just looking for some basic zones. Some people use quarter theory, according to whole numbers and prices. Some people use a line chart. Some people use, the bullish engulfing kind of thing. But this to me was always the way that kind of stuck, and it was super easy, super simple. So if this is where price is at, we're looking at one of these two areas. So now that we've got some basics, if price is right here, it already broke above this. It hasn't broke above this point yet, but it's looking like it might. So it could turn around and back down, or it could go up. But that's what you're looking for. Because once it breaks a certain area, that's essentially what you're looking for. Is if it breaks this area, it's going to go to here at least, and then it'll break, retest, go up, or it'll not break, it'll reject and come back down. Like that's all price action. Well, again, I'm no expert, but that's what I know of price action, which isn't, a whole super lot. And when you take it back to the candles, wherever those are at, let's see. You're looking for like major signs that something happened at these areas. So this right here is a really good area because it wicked so hard to the downside. It rejected, it came back, it rejected, wicked again. And again, people are probably thinking it's going to sell from here, but the fact that it couldn't break it and close below it, and then it came up. And keep in mind, I drew this line when I couldn't even see that. This is where you would buy. And then, of course, the price still moves. So now what is price going to do? If I had to guess, it's going to go up because it broke some key levels. It's got some massive bullish movement. It tried to break the trend, but it's already made a higher high. So this is officially an uptrend. So not a whole bunch, but all you're looking for is price action at key levels. Candlestick patterns, wicks, engulfing, evening stars, all that stuff. Like this. That's it.
Yeah, and what pair you wanted me to look at the ADR, Jenny?
Oh, look at the Euro GBP. Why doesn't that one have a better ADR? That's something that I would love to know.
Yeah, that one's only 63. It's only 63.
So bad. That's bad. How much is like GBP USD?
GBP USD. What is it? Okay. 109.
See, that's like double. But this one sells, the price of this per pip is like $13 per pip. Whereas like the price of GBP odd is like $6 per pip. So when you gain 10 pips, everyone assumes that it's $10, but that's not necessarily the case. That's why having like a lot size calculator, there's some that you can put on MT4, and there's some that like Jennifer posted in the group that are apps. And a really easy one is MissFX book. It's super easy. But anyhow, this one trades at a lot more per pip. So the value of each pip is more. So if you got 50 pips of this and it's worth twice as much as GBP odd, I mean, that's saying something. So this pair and then gold versus the euro are the two most expensive per pip pairs, at least as far as I know. They're worth more per pip. So it's worth it to be accurate on these pairs. Euro GBP and gold versus the euro. Those are the best. If I could just fall in love with it, I'd be super happy. But it moves all funky. Super funky.
Yeah, it does a lot of wicks.
It does. And especially seeing how it's so expensive per pip, you really want to be right. You really can't be wrong. Period. It's just never a good idea. But yeah, consider that 100 pips of this is worth twice as much, like €2. So if you did a standard lot size, that's, sorry, 0.1 is $10 per pip. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. A standard lot size is $10 per pip on any US pair and a few others. But on almost everything else, it's substantially less. So like on, Euro JPY, on Chef versus New Zealand, like those are not They don't trade at the same volume per pip. So when people are trying to calculate their monthly growth or their daily growth, having a calculator that tells you what size to use, what size lot to use per that pair you're trading is super important, because a 0.1 on Euro GBP is worth a lot different than a 0.1 on GBP odd. Way different. So.
Didn't know that.
Okay, well, I will drop an indicator. It's like one of these, and it tells you the price per pip, and then it tells you all the open and close time in the group too. And at least they'll get you familiar, but then after a while I quit using it because it's just huge and annoying. But I'll drop that in the group too. So when you drag a new pair on your chart, you can see over here. I don't know if I have it in this. Let's find out. Let's see if I can take that off. Delete. Let's find out if I've got it. If I can even remember what it's called. It's been so long since I've used it. It's InfoPin Plus. Which I think you actually have to get from Marketplace.
You do. That's the one you get from Marketplace.
Yep. So this one, it will tell you guys like how much it's worth per pair. Oh, I have to delete it. So yeah, but I can't drop it to you guys in Marketplace because if I do that, then it won't work. Let's see, delete. But it's a really cool tool because it tells you what each one trades at per pair. And I think that can be super informative, like if you're willing to look for it. I think I have to close out of this and then go back. Probably. But yeah, I'll drop it to you guys in the group. So that's really about all I know about price action. Sorry I couldn't be any more help, but if there's any other questions or whatever, go and let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop off. And
you are a rock star. Thank you for your Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for being on here. It kind of is cool.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you guys, we're gonna have a great trading week after all this. It's gonna be a ton of fun. So create your rules. You guys can model them after mine or just kind of your own strengths and weaknesses. And I promise you, this system works and it will totally change quite a bit in your lives if you let it. So, yes, sir. And I will drop this video in the group. I'm going to talk to Pat next week and we will go from there. So happy Saturday. Enjoy your Sunday, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome. Have a good day, guys.
You too.